In this video, I'm going to show you a full campaign workflow and how you build something out within Clay within 20 minutes. So you'll go from literally 0 to a full final campaign, basically, with a list of leads within 20 minutes. And I'll show you step by step how to do that. So first thing, we're going to find companies. We're going to do this from LinkedIn. I've just set up like a test account just so I can show you the whole step-by-step process. For this video and for the process of everything, I'm just going to show you SaaS companies. So we're going to build like a list of software companies and basically would be offering them like marketing services essentially, and so like full service. Like just imagine that that's the scenario. So we've got SaaS, and then we don't want agency, we don't want marketing, we don't want consulting, we don't want consultant, consultancy, advertising. Okay, cool. Yeah, and then in terms of employees, I want 11 to 50, so we want decent size. Cool. Clay does also have a pretty cool thing. So we could actually do companies building sales prospecting tools. Let's just do it like this. Actually, let's just do it like this. And then we can see if they're hiring as well. So I'm just going to remove that and then preview companies. And this will be in the US. So I don't want a massive list. I just want, let's see, we've got 10,000. Sales as a service. No, so we want to filter this a bit more. So I want to do maybe software development. Yeah, software development. And we want to filter it maybe even more. I want to go like SaaS software. And then try again. Okay, great. So you can see here we've got a much smaller list. So I'm going to just filter this down just even one step more. I'm actually going to do United Kingdom. Just I'd rather do that than the US and preview companies again. All right, fantastic. So we've got a much smaller list here. We've got 226. It's about perfect just for this kind of tutorial. Then we're going to import these. Fully enrich company. No, so we don't actually want that yet. What I might do is job openings, but I'll do that in just a second. So we're going to go continue. Job openings tends to be a lot lower for obviously 11 to 50, but once you start getting above like 50, 200, 200 plus, the job openings are obviously they're much larger, so they can be much better for that kind of those kinds of companies. So right now, this is just loading the initial list. Cool. So what we're going to do here is we're going to let's just see. Let's have a think. We're going to. Okay, cool. So once we've got this list, what we're going to do next is obviously find people from the list. So we're going to go find people. And bear in mind, these are sort of smaller size companies, and we want to be talking to ideally like marketing people, just because director of marketing, let's say head of marketing, digital marketing, director, things like that, right? See SEO, manager, things like that, right? So let's just imagine that we're offering SEO. We want to look at what their website traffic is at the moment, and we're going to enrich information based on that. So we've got preview people. Yeah, so we just click on that. Hopefully this comes up with the marketing managers and everything that they've got at these companies. Okay, so you can see here, like it's a super small list for some reason. So I'm actually just going to try and test these out as well, and maybe see CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, Head of Content. Let's try that. Leave and try the preview people here. Interesting. So for some reason, it hasn't really shown anyone more. We've only got 31 results. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to delete these. I'm going to delete these. And then I'm just going to put marketing. And that means that anyone that has this seniority, manager, VP, etc., they'll come up. Hopefully the theory works, and hopefully the list will be larger, because I can't imagine with 200 companies, there's only 30 people that work in marketing. Interesting. Very interesting. Maybe a lot of them don't have marketing people. Okay. What else could we do? See if we just delete this and see what this looks like. So actually, to be fair, we could also reach out to the founders as well, because if they're small companies and like 10 people, then the founder's going to be, yeah. So you can see here that all of these companies have around 500 employees that are this level and up. So we could actually put founder, CEO, marketing. We could also put sales, to be fair, as well, because technically marketing, you're just obviously generating leads, so could help, and marketing and sales are pretty intertwined. So all right, cool. So we've got 126, so that's perfect. So we're going to import these 126. I'm also just going to make sure that the location is the UK, just because we don't want, if we're reaching out to people, we want it to be that they're actually in the time zone that we think they are. So we don't want to be, sending them up on a campaign with UK hours and they're actually in the US or something. So we can just further filter the list like that. So just give it a second. All right, perfect. So we got an initial 91. Obviously, when you're building a list, you want it to be probably larger than 91. But if you're building like a hyper-targeted list, then that's also good as well. I'm just going to import 91 people. We are going to find their emails in just a second, actually. I'm just wondering if it works right now to do that. Yeah, okay, cool. So we can just click that and then click continue. So it's going to basically import these people, and then it's going to enrich them for their emails and validate their emails, which is perfect. So yeah, now that this is running, this is what is one of the cool things about Clay is we don't need this in the way. So yeah, so it's basically I'm just gonna remove this because we don't actually need this Clayagent thing. But this is one of the cool things. So now the emails at the end, I'm not sure if they're actually validated. No, they're not validated just yet. So I'm going to have to run them through like a verification afterwards, which I'll do right now. So this is what I would do. Go validate. Let's see. Validate. Yeah, where are we? Here we are. Cool. So only save to send. And I would not do it here. I would do it for. So yeah, work email. Exclude free emails, we don't want that, and then continue, and then we just want the actual email, like the valid email at the end. Cool. So that's what we would do. So now we have like our whole waterfall thing, and then all of these emails that pop out here, they'll get validated, and then this will be the valid emails, and then obviously we will filter the list so that we only have the people that have valid emails at the end, and then we'll enrich the information that we want to find. So in our case, what we're trying to do is find try and find website traffic. So we'll use the website traffic and then use that. We'll try and find website traffic and then we'll use that as part of our intro line, basically. And then we'll use AI to essentially like give us some options or ideas for that. So we're not necessarily finding emails here. Interesting. Why is this not? Interesting. I don't know why this isn't coming up. Email to. I'm just going to create a new column for this. Cool. Stick that there. And then validate email, edit this just to make sure this isn't just. So there's going to be work email, and then email to, and then save and do not run. Cool, and then we would just basically run all the rows that haven't run or have errors. And then this will give us the final emails here. I'm not quite sure why there are so many emails here, but they're not running. Okay, cool, that's fine. So it was only running for the first 10 rows. But yeah, so I will just leave that to run now. And we've got the people, we've got the company tables, data, and everything. We've got job titles, location, all this good stuff. But the goal here is just to find the valid email address. Once we've got the valid email, then we can start to enrich a little bit more from there. Okay, great. So for some reason, I don't know why, but the water flow wasn't working. So instead, I went just with Prospero. Prospero has pretty damn good data coverage. Obviously, if we went with the waterfall, it might find a couple more. But you can see here what we're doing is, so we want to just make sure that we catch those error ones. So run all rows that haven't run. Validating, get the final valid emails, and then we're going to filter based on the final valid emails, and we're only going to run the column. We can also use a formula if we wanted to, but we're only going to run the column to basically enrich for website traffic if this is got the valid email. So I'm going to go over to here, valid emails, I'm going to go equals, and then it's not empty. So we should have maybe, we've got 56. Okay, so there's not that many. But anyway, this is just an example. So you can see we've now got 56 rows. So what we'll do now is we've got the valid emails, we go to enrich, and we go traffic. And we can go get traffic analytics, get main estimate traffic on a monthly basis for a given domain. It's pretty cool. We can also find site traffic with clear enrichments, but I'm actually going to use the SEM rush because I'm really intrigued to see what this does. You can also use a waterfall here, which tries clear enrichment, store leads, and then SEM rush. But just for this sake, I'm going to try the SEM because I think they have just launched this. So it'd be pretty cool to test out. So I'm going to do save and run first 10 rows and just see what this looks like. And bear in mind, these are smaller companies, so it might be a case where it doesn't actually find them. If it doesn't find them, then what I will do is, so you can see here, traffic found. For the ones that it doesn't find, I will write a conditional formula that basically the first line of the email is going to mention what their traffic is like on their website. But if it doesn't have that, then obviously we can't just leave that blank. So we're going to write an AI generated first line. So we have like a fallback, right? So if that makes sense. So then if you were to add more prospects to this whole workflow, this would automatically update. Would find the email, validate the email, then find the traffic. And if it doesn't have the traffic, then it would find the kind of next step of what we're going to do. And I'll show you that in a second. So see what the what this would actually even look like. What are we doing for trial credits? So let's have a look and see. Okay, so you can see that within, if we click into the web traffic, we've got like all of these different categories. So we can see, let's see what we've got. Mobile, got visits, interesting referral visits, desktop, hits, visits 960, interesting. Okay, so we could potentially pull the data here. Traffic rank, total visits. Yeah, so total visits is probably the pages per visit. Interesting. Okay, cool. So yeah, so we're able to find out like the website traffic that they're getting at the moment. This would be a perfect line that you could have for your first email. Hey, saw that you were currently getting about 960 visits a month on your site. Have you thought about boosting that? You know, here's a couple strategies that you could use, or we made this thing that can help you help companies of your size get to, 20,000 visits a month or something. So total visits is the one that we want. Data accuracy, bounce rate on site, traffic, total visits. Now, of course, this is not always the most accurate, but it can be accurate. And I wonder if is this on a monthly basis? That's another thing. Display month. Okay. Oh, if not specified, the most recent complete month start date will be used. Okay, got it. So it's basically the most recent month, which is pretty cool. Okay, cool. So we've now got basically like our total visits. So we're going to run this for the rest of them. So run column, run will have errors. And you're only going to get charged, by the way, for the ones that actually come up as a tick. So if they don't come up as a tick, then you won't get charged. Now, if we obviously had more credits and we were playing around with it even more, the way that we would do this is in here where it says traffic not found, we would actually run a waterfall. So we would try the clear enrichment, then we would try this, and then we would try, I think it was another one, but I can't remember, store leads integration as well. And then that means you'd have the best coverage, so you'd probably be able to find more. But that would still be a case where quite a few of them would have traffic not found. So in that case, what I'm going to do is write a relatively simple AI kind of line. Of course, there are so many more workflows that you could do, and you could go like fully in detail, which I'll probably make another video on that like runs through like even more detail. But these are just a couple of cool things that you could do. But just off the top of my head, you could quite literally just make a comment about what the company does. Hey, saw that you do X, Y, Z, and then kind of go from there. And I'll show you how you can do that. So we've now got line number one, or like basically if they have traffic, they'll get a line that says this. So the way that we would write this is we'd go into formula, and if the input for them, and we'll put this here, so total visits is not empty, then output the following. Was on your site, checking your site traffic and saw that you had around, and then we've put the number, total visits last month. So we don't even need AI to write that line. We would just use a formula. Cool. And because we're getting up to the 20-minute mark, and I'm wary of saying how you can kind of launch this within under 20 minutes, the way I would actually do this in more detail is, it'd be weird to say, hey, I saw that you had 1,548 visits. It's better to round it up. So you might say like, hey, I saw you had around 300 visits to your site last month. I saw you had around 450. I saw you had, 1,200 visits to your site or something. So I was checking out your site and saw that you had around, okay, shit, I need to add visits. Sorry, excuse me. So we'll just go back to edit column, use AI, and we'll put visits here because it's missing visits last month. Cool. So you get the idea, but obviously you'd want to refine like what visits looks like, which you could do with a formula and just say, hey, round this up, please. But I'm not going to do that because it'll just take a bit too much time right now. Cool. So yeah, you can see here it was checking your site traffic and so you had around 710 visits last month. Now, yeah, again, you want to maybe round that up so that you had around 700 visits last month, etc. And then that would be how you would work or move into your. Why are there two? Not sure why there's two. Just going to hide this one. That would work as your opening line, and then you would want to put this as site traffic opening line. Cool. And then what we would do, just very quickly, would go enrich data, go over to company LinkedIn, and we'd enrich the company. And then we would go run settings and we'd use AI and we'd say only run if put site traffic. So we'd only run if this is empty, and then we would generate that. Cool. So you can see column will run no, but yes if it's empty. Cool. And then what we're going to do is we're going to write. So again, this is just an example, but we're going to write an AI first line if we don't have like traffic found. So what this is doing is for the people that have the information and data available, they're getting the message. But that doesn't mean we don't want to reach out to the rest of them because it's just a waste if we don't. So we want to have like the next step. If we have this information, great, we send them that message. But if they don't have that information, then we send them the next message. Now, obviously, the next message can be way more in detail, but I'm just showing you like as an example. You could also send like something like this. This is not the best example, but it's just off the top of my head in that sense. So we would just run this for all the columns because what we want to do is we want to get the LinkedIn description. So you can see here that it's running to site traffic. Cool. And then the ones that don't have it. And then what we would do is we go back to enrich data. We go on to AI. We go back to here, and then we would write a first line based on the. So use job opening first lines. We might use company mission, and then we would put the description in here. Description. Just gonna move myself out of the way. Use template, and then we would go settings, auto. Cool. And then we would just try it, see what it looks like. Yeah, so ignore these because it'll still come up for ones that have like the total visits. But I was on your site and saw you modernize project portfolio management, real-time insights. Now the next step that we want to do is just remove these like quotation marks. Obviously, you don't want that there. I was on your site and saw you automate AI-powered sales prospecting. Again, these are like perfect, and this is pretty cool. So we would then just go save run to first 10 rows. Obviously, you just run all of them. Actually, wait, before I do that, we would just go edit and we just make sure. Yeah, so you can see here it says run condition not met because this doesn't have any information and it's pulling information from here. But then we would just run it for the whole thing. Run column, run all columns that haven't run. I'll have errors. So then this would run. It's going to run. Pause it for a sec. Great, and that is quite literally it. So now you can see here, I was on your site and saw you did this. So the way that this workflow would work is you've got their valid emails, and then we've checked their site traffic, we've checked the number of visits. Obviously, if we want to take an extra step, we would round this up or down, etc., so that it's a little bit more like believable. And then the first line for people that have site traffic was checking your site and saw that you had 710 visits last month. But if they don't have site traffic, then we've enriched the company, and then we've basically told AI to build out a first line. So I was on your site and saw you modernize project portfolio management with real-time insights. And we'd obviously have to figure out a way to connect that with the rest of the email, but we would then title this as the first line variable, and this is the first line variable. And then in Smart Lead or Instantly or whatever, if this is present, then this will get filled up in the first line. And if this is not present, but this is present, this will get filled up in the first line. So that's the way that we're able to add all of these into one campaign. And basically, if they have this information, then they get that message. But if they don't have this information, but they have this information, then they get this message. But it's all in the same campaign. So that is how you build a workflow completely from scratch of these companies. Obviously, we can do this on a way larger scale, but this is just to give you an idea of a particular workflow that you could do if you were like a Google Ads or SEO agency. And you were trying to drive traffic, and that's what your service was, and you were doing it for, I can't remember the types of companies, sales prospecting companies, right? Tech companies, and you wanted to help them with that. And it would be as simple as doing this, and then you have very relevant messaging, especially if you're using the site traffic and then tying that in with the rest of your messaging. So yeah, hopefully this video is useful. If it has been, we offer these services and help you build out these custom workflows and everything like that. So yeah, if you're interested, book a call below, and I will speak to you in the next one. Bye.